right, so welcome everyone. I'm Kelly Molloy, and what we're talking about today are what I like to call heavenly hormones. So I'm expecting that we will have mostly women watching this, but not necessarily, because heavenly hormones can mean happy husbands, right? So it's just as valuable and important to men as I think it is to women. But my guess is that most of you watching are actually females. So I want to welcome you. I want to tell you a little bit about why this topic is important to me and what we're going to cover and share today. All right, so I am Kelly Molloy. I'm a certified health coach, and I'm a Young Living Silver leader. So I teach a lot of classes and help to educate people about all kinds of natural alternatives and natural health, natural remedies. And so you'll see some of that in what I'm going to share today, specifically about how to have healthy heavenly hormones. But we'll also share a little bit about the things for you to watch out for, right? So some of the big things to avoid, some of the big things that could be creating the issues or challenges that you're having with your hormones. All right, I'm not going to get into super detail, so if you came today to learn all about the endocrine system and how all the different hormones work, we're not going to get into that level of detail, right? We're going to just cover some of the big stuff in a more general way, but I think in a way that will give you at least a few things to start implementing right away, okay? So the first thing to look at is whether you know what you're actually dealing with in terms of your hormones. Okay, and there are many different symptoms that we as women can be experiencing at all different times in our lives and at all different times of our cycles. So the first thing is to really make sure that you know what's going on in your body, and that's probably your biggest question or concern, right? So if you're having some symptoms, if you're having hormonal imbalance, if you're having hot flashes, or if you're having, mood swings, or if you're having other things that happen, right? You know what they are. Then you might be worried or concerned about what's actually going on. So I do recommend that you seek out a qualified professional, and I would recommend a naturopathic doctor, an endocrinologist, or a functional medicine specialist, all right? I have to tell you that I am not a doctor. Okay, and so the things that I share with you today are for educational and informational purposes only. They are not to diagnose or treat or cure anything that you have going on, all right? I do think it is important to know what you're dealing with. And the reason is that, some of us that might be here today might be in a perimenopause state, some may be in a menopausal state, and there are different things to do depending, right? So in perimenopause, you have a lot of fluctuations in your estrogen, okay, which is one of our major hormones, right? But as you move into menopause, both progesterone and estrogen decline, right? So depending on where you are, it's really important to know what's going on. All right, so if you go to a functional medicine doctor, an endocrinologist, or a naturopathic doctor, they can do the testing that's necessary to give you a better snapshot of where you're actually at, right, in your life change process. Okay, and if you're nowhere near that life change process, don't worry, because there's still information here that can be helpful and valuable to you, because the things that I'm going to share with you are things that can be used regardless. Okay, but if you are dealing with hormonal issues, I suggest you find out what exactly is going on. All right, is it just estrogen? Is it progesterone? What's the ratio of those two, right, in your body, your progesterone to estrogen, so that you can have a better idea of what the right course of action is. Okay, and then you can learn what you can do from that, right? So if you're dealing with a professional, they'll have certain recommendations for you. The things that I'm going to share with you today may be in addition to that. They may be similar to that. And they can really, as I mentioned, be helpful to anyone, all right? Whether you're dealing with perimenopause, menopause, or not, all right? Everything that I'm going to share with you today can be helpful regardless. Right? So the first key is knowing what's going on with your body and then learning about what you can do. And then take some deep breaths, right? It's hormones. So, I say to people all the time, like, would you rather be a man, right? Men do have it much easier than we do as women, right? The only thing they really have to deal with in their life change is that their testosterone declines, right? And there are things they can do for that naturally too, which we won't cover in this class, but maybe in another. But it's pretty simple for them, right? For men, it's just testosterone. For women, it's a little more complicated, right? Because we're not sure if we're dealing with an estrogen issue, a progesterone issue, or both. So, the first thing I'll say to you is take a deep breath and just decide, are you happy to be a woman? Because we do have a little bit more to deal with. And it's not the end of the world. The good news is there are lots of natural things that can help. All right, there are lots of things that you can do that I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to share a lot of options, a lot of things that you can change and implement in your life. You are not going to want or probably even be able to do all of them at once. Okay, I would not recommend that. What I do recommend is that you, as you're looking at the slides and as I'm sharing with you today, find the things that really jump out at you. All right, find the things that give you some sense of conviction when you say, oh, yeah, I have been doing that, and that is something I'd like to change, right? Find the key elements for you. They're going to be different for each of us, but find what really speaks to you, and then you can start taking those steps to start making changes in the areas that will probably have the most impact for you, okay? But I am going to share all of it so that you have that broad spectrum idea of all the things that come into play and all of the ways that you can help yourself to have more heavenly hormones, all right? Some of the things that I'm going to suggest today are not easy, all right? And you probably know what some of them are already, right? You're probably thinking about, well, I could eat better, right? I could exercise more. I could, meditate. Those things may seem hard, and maybe they've been really challenging for you to implement or stick with, but I'm just going to ask you to evaluate where you are right now, okay? Because if you're watching this, my guess is that you don't have the most heavenly hormones right now, right? And you're looking for some relief, you're looking to feel better, you're looking to feel human again, maybe, right? So this really brings in a question of picking your hard, right? So what is harder for you? Feeling the way that you're feeling right now, or making some changes in your lifestyle? Even little changes, right? We can start with little changes, but you will have to pick your heart, right? So feeling horrible and, unbalanced emotionally, hormonally, having your body do things that you're completely not expecting in the least opportune times, that's hard, right? Making changes in some of your routine and things that you've done over many years, that's hard too, right? So I'm not going to promise you rose petals and unicorns. This isn't going to be all easy, but some of the things that I'm going to share today, you'll say, oh, I could do that, right? I could start there, right? So let's jump in and I'll start sharing some of those goodies with you. So the first thing, of course, that I have to talk about is food, because I'm a foodie, right? And whenever I work with someone, I always want to look at what's happening for them nutritionally. You are what you eat, right? You've heard it a million times. It's totally cliche, but it's totally true. So if you are feeling horrible and you're not willing to change the way that you're eating, right? If you're not nourishing your body well, it's going to be really hard to overcome the issues and challenges that you're facing, right? People are always looking for the quick pill, right? The one little answer, the thing that's going to fix it all, and they don't have to do any other work, and that just does not exist, okay? So nutrition and the way you feed yourself is one of the most important areas. So pick your heart. I'm going to show you a number of things in this realm of nutrition. Don't have to do all of them day one, but see what speaks to you, okay? As I share this, notice what jumps out at you, what gives you that sense of conviction or that sense of, oh, I really do need to change that, okay? So avoiding pesticides, herbicides, and chemical additives in processed foods. All of those affect your hormones. Avoiding conventionally raised meat and dairy, which contain the bovine growth hormone, which also impacts your hormones. Increase your healthier foods, right? So your organic fruits and vegetables and hormone-free proteins. Yes, those things do cost more money, but think about how you're feeling right now and what is more important to you, spending a little bit more on organic fruits and veggies and better quality proteins, or feeling the way that you feel. All right. And then avoiding soy protein isolate or foods that are abnormally high in concentrated soy. So soy actually can be beneficial to some women. And there are health benefits for everybody in soy in certain amounts, right? And in that, not, that those types of soy that don't have abnormally high levels of that soy protein. So things like soybeans, edamame, those, and tofu, those can be okay, but you want to avoid soy protein isolates. You really want to avoid drinking soy milk, right? So in the cultures where they get the most benefit from soy, they're just using it more as a condiment, right? They're not drinking glasses of soy milk every day, all right? So just keep that in mind. You also want to improve digestion. Okay, so that was just a broad, right? I just gave you a broad overview of what you can do nutritionally, all right? So getting rid of the processed foods, the chemicalized foods, watching your level of soy, eating more organic fruits and vegetables, and clean proteins, okay? Simple, right? You know how to do that. I know you do. And then improving digestion, right? So a stressed digestive system will actually cause a release of cortisol, and can also lead to nutrient deficiency. So if your digestive system is not functioning properly, it's a stress on your body, number one. And number two, you're not going to be absorbing your nutrients. You'll have malabsorption, right? And so that can lead to different deficiencies that can impact your hormones, all right? You also want to identify food sensitivities. And this is an area that's really big for me in my practice. I do a lot of this work with my clients. Because food sensitivities are often the root of those digestive issues. So creating inflammation in the gut, which impairs absorption, messing with your gut flora, right? So your internal gut, your microbiome. And because certain gut bacteria are really key to metabolizing estrogen, right? And that's a really important thing because estrogen, we don't want estrogen, if estrogen isn't metabolized, you're going to end up with excess estrogen in the body. Right? And excess estrogen can be causing many of the symptoms that women are complaining about. All right. So your gut health, your nutrition, and your gut health are actually super important to your hormonal balance. Right? We don't necessarily connect those. Right? We don't usually think about it that way, but it is very significant. We also want to improve liver function. Right? So the liver, you probably already know, is your key detox organ. All right, so your liver is what helps to release and detox toxins from your body, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But it is also key in making sure that we have an efficient release of that metabolized estrogen. So again, that we don't have that excess estrogen in the body causing all kinds of hormonal issues for you. All right, so how do you do that? How do you improve your liver function? Well, one of the ways is to make sure you're not doing things that really are challenging or create more work for your liver, right? So reducing the liver taxing lifestyle choices. So you may drink, your glass of wine or have, imbibe, whatever you do occasionally, but watching what you're doing in terms of alcohol on a regular basis is helpful to the liver. In addition to that, reducing your overall toxins, right? Because as we mentioned, toxins are the job of the liver primarily to actually help the body cleanse and release those. So if you can reduce the toxins that are coming in, again, through your food, right? So eating less processed, chemicalized junk food, but also toxins in your environment, right? So we'll talk about that in a little bit too. You can do a liver detox. You can do different cleanses that are aimed at really helping the liver. And then you can do things like, taking different liver supplements, eating certain foods that are very supportive to the liver, all right? So the liver is really important for your hormones, all right? So if you already know that you have some liver issues or some history that may be causing your liver to not function super well, then this might be an area for you to start in. This might be the first place you look at, making some of those changes and doing some things to support your liver, okay? You might not have known that, right? This one's huge, and I talk about this a lot, avoiding xenoestrogens. All right, and xenoestrogens you can see on your screen. These are chemicals that mimic estrogen in the body. All right, so we want to have a nice balance, the right balance between our estrogen and our progesterone. We don't want estrogen to be completely out of whack. When we have products and even some foods that contain xenoestrogens, our estrogen levels can become too high. Right? And I've listed some of the products here. So xenoestrogens are found in creams, shampoos, soap, lotion, skincare, in lots of cleaning products. We're here on vacation and I grabbed a couple of the cleaning products that were under the sink, right? Lots of toxic chemicals in these. But also in perfumes, in hairspray, room sprays. You can get xenoestrogens from car exhaust, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, solvents, nail polish, paint remover, glue, dry cleaning, and plastics. Now, if you're thinking or looking or listening to this list and you're saying, oh my gosh, like I have so many of those in my life, just start with one, right? What's one thing on that list that you can begin avoiding, right? Maybe not all of them. I don't know, maybe you wear suits all the time and they need to be dry cleaned. Okay, but how can you create some balance by reducing some of the other things in your life? Okay, so it's not an all or nothing. It's starting somewhere and saying, okay, this is one thing that I can do. This is one change that I can make, right? Some of the common xenoestrogens are things like phthalates, which are often found in soft plastics, parabens, which are found in many personal care products, and BPA, which you'll actually find not only in the lining of canned foods, but in certain plastics as well. All right, so this is a huge one, all right, really huge, because this is something we do have control over to a large degree, right? Choosing the products that you buy and use in your home and on your body can make an absolutely immense difference in how you feel, okay? And then the other avoid, so these are some other things that you really want to try to eliminate from your life if you can, okay? And this is kind of where, for me, in my life, these are the things that made a huge impact for me after I changed my food, right? So when I first started I started having health issues as a child, really, but in my 30s, when I started to really look at nutrition as a way to make changes in the way that I felt. I had horrible menstrual cycles, horrible PMS, migraines, crazy mood swings, emotional roller coaster, all kinds of skin issues, you name it, surrounding, my cycle. And when I changed my food, that improved significantly. But when I started getting rid of the toxic things in my home, that's when I really saw those two things came together. So changing my food and getting rid of the toxins in my home, I saw a complete change in the way I experienced life as a woman, right? So these other things, avoiding dryer sheets, which are super toxic, avoiding drinking hot liquid in styrofoam cups, right? So those were the days where I actually drank coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. And what are their cups? Styrofoam, right? For the most part. So these are little simple changes. They may not seem super simple, but you can do it, all right? Not microwaving food or beverages in plastic. Hopefully everybody knows that already. And then using glass containers to store your food, all right? And that's also for that BPA, not getting those toxins from plastics in your food, which actually can happen. All right, so if you store leftovers in plastic, the toxins can actually leach into your food. All right, so those are a few other things to avoid. And then, doing the ditch and switch, right? So as you start to look at your products and what you have, right, getting rid of, I won't show the name of it, but getting rid of, your conventional glass cleaner and using a more natural, healthy option. And you can find out what's happening with your products or what's in them from a few different places, right? So you can visit the ewg.org website, and they actually have an app for your phone as well. So you can evaluate your skincare and cleaning products. They have a ton of information in there. They'll tell you which products contain endocrine disruptors, all right? And that's what you want to be looking for if you have any hormonal issues. Really, you want to look for any toxins and get them out. That would be your number one, probably would be to look for anything that has an endocrine disruptor in it. And then I like the Think Dirty app, which again is an app for your phone where you can scan your products. So you can literally scan the barcode of a product and it will tell you what chemicals are in that and what the safety issues are or the health concerns related to that. And everybody jokes about the name of that app because it's Think Dirty. And, you know, when we're talking about hormones and hormones are so closely related to libido, we can have a lot of jokes that come in on that. But essentially, yeah, like if you're using products that are toxic, that are endocrine disruptors, they could get in the way of you thinking dirty, right? They could interfere in that area of your life as well. So the Think Dirty app's great. You can scan your products and see what's in them. Okay, and then what I recommend for your better skincare, I didn't bring my stuff down. I meant to actually have my skincare and makeup here for you to look at. I do have actually the Thieves Cleaner. So Young Living is where I get all of my products, and some of you know that already. But they have the best skincare, the best makeup, the best cleaning products without any of the chemicals. All right, so this is literally a plant-based cleaner. This is just a little sample packet. But I brought this with me here because I don't want to use these things that are under the sink in this Airbnb that we're staying in, right? I don't want to, you know, we have a lovely tub and I don't want to use it until I clean it and get rid of, you know, the gunk that's on it, the toxic chemicals that they cleaned with. So Young Living is where I go for all of my skincare, my makeup, all of my cleaning products, and then essential oils that you can use to create your own. And that's one of the greatest gifts, I think, is that when you start learning about using essential oils, you can make a lot of your own stuff. So even if you don't want to have to read labels, right? If you don't want to have to use the Think Dirty app, you can just make things yourself using essential oils, right? You just want to make sure that they're really high quality. And that's why I get mine from Young Living, because I know there's nothing else in here than what I want to be in here. Right, and it's a super high quality. The other thing that we as women underestimate is our stress, right? We might not underestimate it when we're talking to other people about our stress, but we underestimate how important it is to do something about it, right? Besides just complain or just be in misery. So the first thing I want you to think about is, you know, how aware are you of how you respond to stress? Are you clear and conscious of what happens to your body, what happens to your mental state, and what you actually do in terms of actionable items when you're stressed? So how do you respond? How does your body respond to stress? And the reason why this is so important is it's absolutely key to hormonal balance, right? When you're stressed, right, it activates your adrenal glands to secrete your stress response hormones, right? And if that's happening all the time because you have chronic stress that you're not dealing with, then yes, that leads to hormonal imbalance, okay? That puts a tremendous amount of stress on your endocrine system. So this is one of the areas that I think people have the hardest time with, especially women who are trying to fit everything in, right? We're trying to take care of everybody else. We're trying to, you know, do the work thing and do the family thing and, you know, try to make everything and everyone happy. And when we don't take care of ourselves, that's when everything starts to fall apart, right? So look at the options here, mindfulness techniques. So if you can do meditation, I hope you can, right? So meditation or prayer or whatever kind of a spiritual practice you can implement, but implement it every day. Even if it's just 5 minutes to start with, find some way to integrate a practice for you, something that's just for you that will help your body and calm that stress response, all right? Exercise is great, except if it stresses you. And this is unfortunately where a lot of women miss the mark. So a lot of us are also, not only are we stressed or do we have hormonal imbalance or hormonal challenges, but we also want to release weight, right? So when we move it, when we exercise, we have a mission, right? Our exercise is about losing weight, dropping pounds, right? Getting in shape. And that kind of exercise can often be a stress on the body, right? If your body thinks that you're running from a lion, it's going to activate your adrenals. It's going to activate that cortisol and adrenaline release. Okay, so if you're going to exercise, which can be a wonderful stress reliever, it has to be something that you really enjoy and something that you would do even if you didn't have to lose weight. Okay, so think about that. Think about whatever your workout routine is or whatever you're doing for exercise right now, and would you still do that if you didn't have a pound to lose? Okay, and that's the kind of exercise you really want to be doing to help your body with stress. Okay, going to a 4 a.m. spin class where you're killing yourself is just going to raise your cortisol. All right, and I know some of you don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. Okay, so make sure that you're choosing the right kind of exercise, and that will help with your hormonal balance. Okay, get support. So we always think we have to do it alone. We don't have to do it alone, and this is the piece that as women, this is why I wanted to do this class, because we have so many people around us. We have so many amazing women around us that could be supporting us, and yet we don't talk about things, we don't share things, we just try to figure it out and muddle through it on our own, right? So talk to the women in your life. Talk to the women, if you have older sisters, if you have, your mom is still here, talk to them about what it was like for them when they went through changes in their life, in their hormonal system. And that'll help you get a sense, right? But get the support that you need to go through this without a struggle, right? Without feeling like you're lost, confused, frustrated, irritated, exhausted, all right? Support can make a huge difference, okay? And then increase the enjoyment of your life. I know that sounds silly, and some of you might even been thinking, well, I can't because my life is miserable, or I have so much stress, or I have so much going on. I don't care what you do, even if it's literally just doing this so that you get 2 seconds or 3 seconds or maybe 20 of enjoyment in your life. Pet your dog, right? Do something to increase the enjoyment of your life, because there's no point otherwise, right? If you're not enjoying your life, then everything else that you're doing, everything that you're working hard for, everything that you're trying to control and make perfect, what's the point? Okay? So little things to help increase the enjoyment of your life. You know what they are. They were the things that you loved to do as a child. They were the things that used to light you up that you don't have time for anymore. They're the things that you've pushed to the side because you've got your agenda. You've got all those to-do lists lined up and ready to go, right? It is really, really important, and not just from a perspective of stress release, but even from a perspective of raising your beta endorphins. This is how we raise our beta endorphins, which is one of those feel-good brain chemicals. It's like the runner's high. And when your beta endorphins are low, it has a huge impact on your mood. It can even impact your cravings. So making sure that you're doing something every day that you enjoy, something for you. Okay, and then using essential oils is another way to address stress. So I think I mentioned it in the beginning of the class that I'm diffusing stress away right now. And I'm not stressed, we're on vacation. I just love the smell of this one. But when you do use essential oils and you're breathing in, inhaling those essential oils, they do go directly to the limbic system in your brain, which is your center of emotions and memory, motivation. It does lots of different things. But that's why smelling a certain oil or blend of oils like Stress Away can actually have an impact on how you feel. All right. So use essential oils, use a good quality like Young Living. You can get them from me if you want to, but they really can help with that stress response. All right. And I teach classes. In fact, I have a class on YouTube if anyone's interested on using essential oils for your emotional wellness. And that has a lot to do with stress, right? So this one, really important. Okay, you can't skip this one. This is when you've got to do at least one thing here to actually help your body deal with and respond to stress in a more healthy way. Okay, so pick one. Pick your hard from this list and decide what you're going to do, what you're going to implement to help your body with stress. Okay, if you want heavenly hormones, this is key. All right, and then I'm going to tell you about a few of my favorite support products after I have a sip of tea. And it looks like I forgot to bring another one down, the Progestins Plus. So I already mentioned Stress Away. And this, again, you can diffuse it. I apply it, I put it right on, so you can put it onto your wrists. I actually have a diffuser bracelet that has Stress Away in it right now. I'm definitely going to be relaxed when Craig gets home. And the other thing that I use is Energize. All right, so I'll tell you a little bit about these. This is a supplement, Energize, and this has a number of things in it, which you can research after. All right, so I won't give you any medical advice related to these ingredients, but I'll tell you what's in here, and then you can do a little snooping. But this has a number of different vitamins in it. It has B6, which is great for energy. It has ashwagandha root, which is phenomenal for stress and also for balancing energy. It has DHEA, which is a precursor to our hormones. So if we are low, right, so if we're having that decline in estrogen and progesterone, DHEA can be valuable there. It also contains myrrh. I don't have all the oils out either, but I have myrrh. It also contains myrrh, essential oil, fleabane, clary sage, and those are all supportive for a healthy endocrine system, okay? And so that's Energize, all right? Progestins Plus is actually a serum. I have some notes on that for you too. And that's a serum that contains fractionated coconut oil, frankincense, bergamot, peppermint, and vitamin E, and it smells divine. All right, if you look it up, it'll talk about it being a personal care product, so it can actually be used for the skin also, and it's beautiful and lovely for the skin. Women rave about it for that. In addition to those ingredients, it also contains wild yam extract. All right, so you've been doing any Googling on hormones, you've probably seen some things on wild yam. The key with this is that wild yam is an edible yam, just so you know. And the key to knowing whether or not to use Progestins Plus is just looking up the detail on wild yam, okay, and whether that's okay for you. But women in Young Living love Progestins Plus. All right, they would talk about it as the girl's best friend, right, for going through hormonal challenges. All right, so Progestins Plus is great, and it's very nourishing for the skin as well. I love the smell of it, and it's applied topically. So you typically would just do 1 or 2 drops on the forearm or the neck, and just 1 or 2 times a day. Okay, and let me see if there's anything else on Progestins Plus for you. There are some precautions, right? So with all of these things, you want to be aware, right, for women who are pregnant or lactating, right? Just do your research on that. But those are a few of my favorites. And then again, I use the Young Living cleaning products, skincare, and makeup, so that I know there aren't any xenoestrogens, there are no parabens, there are no fragrance. Fragrance is another thing that's very toxic for us as women. There's no fragrance because the fragrance is just essential oils, and they're totally pure essential oils. So if you're not already using Young Living, I invite you to learn more about that. I'm happy to share. I love to share with people about using Young Living products and how to get started, but these are just a few of the ones that I use for my own hormonal support. All right, and the last piece really that I just want to share with you, we touched on a number of different things, and hopefully there were certain things that jumped out at you that you said, okay, that's where I really have to start improving or making some changes. But I want you to actually take a moment to imagine what it would be like for you if you didn't have the hormonal challenges that you have right now, right? So if you didn't feel the way you feel now, if you were healthy and vibrant and balanced, what would that feel like? Right? And just take a moment to allow yourself to imagine that, to allow yourself to fathom that that is possible, right? And then just for right now, allow yourself to believe that you are on your way to that, all right? Because that is possible, all right? We as women, I think, in our society today, we have an expectation of suffering. We have an expectation that as we go through these life changes, as we go through perimenopause and menopause, it's going to be miserable and horrible. It doesn't have to be, all right? In many, many other cultures in the world, they don't experience what we experience here. They don't have, you know, this tumultuous time period in their lives, right? They move through it much more gracefully. And why is that? Is that just because they're more graceful? I don't think so, right? I think it's all of these things that I've touched on today, and probably a few more, right? So I want you to believe that it's possible for you to feel better and for you to do it naturally, because you can. All right, and if you need help with that, if you need support with that, just reach out to me, or you can reach out, as I mentioned, to a naturopath or functional medicine doctor, an endocrinologist, if you have one that you know, all right? But just believe, all right, it can get better. And if you want to keep learning, I do have some options for you. So that was our quick class today for Heavenly Hormones. But if you want to continue to learn and receive free information from me, you can just send a text to the number on the screen. It's 631-203-6011. And I'll add you to my wellness list so you can continue to receive free info and info about classes. If you're interested in any of the Young Living products or learning more about that, you can visit my Young Living website, or you can email me or text me, reach out that way. And if you have questions, so if after today, as I mentioned, it was a really general overview in some of the areas. So if you have questions about anything specific, feel free to reach out, and you can reach me at kelly@greenlifewellness.com. All right, and I'm gonna just take a moment to see if we have any questions from anybody. And it looks like we still have quite a few people here. So there's a little Q&A area. So if you do have any questions, you can feel free to just type those in that Q&A area, and I'll be able to answer them. Or feedback. So if there's anything that you found really helpful, or anything that you learned today, or if you'd like to have a little accountability and just share here right now one thing that you know you need to change or implement or work on, you know, to help your body wherever you are right now, you can share that too, right? So if there's just something that you want to commit to, a lot of times when we share it in a group or put it out there in live fashion, it stirs something in us, right? It helps us to say, all right, I'm really going to do this because I said I was going to do it, right? So if you want to share that, feel free. If you have any questions, feel free to post those, or just let me know if this was helpful for you, all right? And there might be a little delay. All right, I'm not seeing any. So if you're typing a question right now and I don't answer it here, I'll make sure that I reach out to you, all right, and get that answer to you. But I just want to thank you all for being here. I hope that this was helpful for you, and I hope to see you on one of my future classes, and have a great day.